are back. You know, it's interesting. I've put out the call before about the NSA. And what they're doing is wrong on so many levels, it's hard to even begin to discuss them. But one of the things that really bothers me about the NSA and the way in which they're spying on Americans and building dossiers on us is that corporate America has failed to see and or then take action against what, quite frankly, endangers the very substance of corporate America. Their secrecy, their ability to have plans and discussions related to how their new marketing program is going to work, their new invention is going to be dealt with. And so I'm stumped because of all people, corporations treat their security like gold. And now it's come out, and by the way, you won't find this in any news organizations domestically in the United States because the Ministry of Propaganda is hard at work fooling corporate America and the individual American people. We're being lied to, misled, and played. So I found this, believe it or not, on Russia Today. There's an article out there about how the NSA has deliberately worked with a company called RSA Security. Now, you know, unless you've run in corporate circles, let me tell you how RSA Secure ID works. I've been in corporate America many, many years. And I've seen these devices in use. In fact, I had one for a while for a company I worked for. And it's basically a little key fob that hangs on your key ring. And when you want to log into your corporate network and you're over at a client's office or you're out at a Wi-Fi location or something along those lines, you want to get into the corporate network because you need to get some information there for a meeting you're going to attend or for, whatever. Maybe you're at home and you want to be able to log on and download something that you need to work on and then upload it again as a finished product so that everybody in the morning has a chance to take a look at it. And they use something called RSA's Secure ID. Now, RSA is a company, and they have this little key fob that gives you a string of numbers. And the numbers are randomly generated, and they are keyed back to the company. So when you go to log in, you got to pull this little key fob up, and it says, what's your security ID? And you look down at the screen of this little key fob. It's like got a little digital readout on it, and it tells you it's, your number is 20856932211, right? And then you type those numbers in, and boom, you magically get into your network. And that number is randomly changed on a routine basis. Now we find out that the NSA has corrupted and put in a back door into RSA security. The encryption algorithm has been insecure all this time. This program has been in effect, the RSA Secure ID program has been in effect for years. And even when they weren't using Secure ID, many corporations don't use the key fob thing. They still use the RSA's encryption and security systems to be able to log in remotely. And we all know how many teleworkers are out there, right? Or how many people are working, remotely at a meeting with a client, and they got to be able to log back in and draw down a, customer service or a technical support document or whatever the case may be. It's interesting that RSA, turns out now, has been working with the NSA in concert for years and gave them a back door into the security of every corporation that's using the RSA systems. Ladies and gentlemen, that tells me that RSA, the company, should be out of business. right now. They came out the other day and announced privately, warning thousands of their customers. Now, when we say thousands of customers, that means these are thousands of individual corporate customers who then have thousands of employees who are using their system. So we're talking about potentially, 5-10 million people working for thousands of companies to immediately discontinue using all versions of the company's Be Safe toolkit and their data protection manager. Those are the names of the two products. They came out and said, quote, to ensure a high level of assurance in their application, RSA strongly recommends that customers discontinue the use of dual EC DRNG, which is what the product's called, and move to a different PRNG, which is a different way of creating the random number generation. In the letter, the RSA provides Be Safe toolkits and DPM customers with a link to a technical guidance on how to change the way that they use these products. And they promise to update the algorithm library. What they failed to mention is that the letter doesn't discuss how this got corrupted. On Wednesday, last week, the New York Times published new revelations by Edward Snowden, exposing the crucial encryption algorithm of certain U.S.-developed software, security software, and the fact that it's based on a weak mathematical formula intentionally crippled to facilitate NSA access to the encrypted data in the flow. Now, if this is too technical for some of you, I'm sorry, but what matters is this. Corporate security has been compromised by the NSA so that they would have access, intentionally crippled, so that they would have access to the encrypted data of corporations in America. On last week, Ars Technica, which is a media outlet, sent an inquiry to the company called RSA on whether it was going to alert its customers that the company's Be Safe product operates, quote, a deliberately crippled pseudo-random number generator, which is so weak that it undermines the security of most or all cryptography systems that use it. In other words, Ars Technica went back to RSA and said, hey, guess what? We know that you have deliberately crippled your encryption software to allow the NSA to gain access. And we're about to blow the lid off of this. It wasn't 24 hours later that RSA issued an advisory to their customers to stop using the compromised software. What that tells me is that they had no intention of telling their customers until Ars Technica and Edward Snowden spilled the beans. And that tells me, and it should tell everyone in corporate America, that you've been betrayed and sold out. It should have every corporation in America picking up the telephone and calling RSA and demanding a full and 100% immediate refund of every penny that they have ever paid them. And furthermore, it should have those same corporations filing lawsuits federally against RSA for the betrayal of their fiduciary responsibility to those corporations. RSA has sold you out and given the keys to your safe to the NSA. Worse yet, and by the way, they had an obligation, a legal, ethical, moral obligation to protect those keys and not give them away to anyone. I don't care who asks for them. Without a warrant, does it matter? I mean, look, if you work for IBM, if you work for Microsoft, if you work for Boeing, and you're using this type of security to transmit financial data, new products, new inventions, patents, copyrights, trademarks, a new product campaign you're about to launch that is under secret review. Maybe it's merger and acquisition information about a company you plan to buy or a company you plan to get rid of. What do you think the implications are if somebody in the NSA has an opportunity to know that IBM intends to buy computer maker XYZ? And their stock at computer maker XYZ is selling for, let's say, $20 a share. But when the announcement comes down that IBM is in negotiations and discussions with them, and the word gets out to the public that IBM wants to buy computer manufacturer XYZ, their stock is going to go to $35 a share. So Joe Contractor, working over at the NSA, goes out there and buys all the shares he can get at $20 a share. And then he just sits back and waits. Ladies and gentlemen, that's called insider trading. And if a corporation CEO calls his brother and says, "Hey, Bob, we're discussing here, buying XYZ computer guy, and their stock is trading at 20 a share. And once the announcement goes public, you're going to make a ton of money on it." If he gets caught doing that, he will go to prison for somewhere between 5 and 12 years. Federal prison. So why is it okay for a group of thousands, perhaps we don't even know millions, of people at the NSA and their selected contractors to know the secrets of corporate America? And here's the problem. Because of the secrecy of the NSA, we don't even know who and how much they know. And when they do utilize that information for insider trading purposes, we never know about it because we don't know they ever knew it. What's worse is you could get an NSA agent out there who says, "I now have this information that IBM is going to make a buy for computer company XYZ. So I'm going to call XYZ's primary competitor, company ABC, and I'm going to say to them, hey, for $500,000 in a Swiss bank account in the name of my dog, I'm going to give you the one secret that you need to know that will change everything about your business." And company ABC says, "Okay, we've put the money in the account. Now, tell us what you know." Think it doesn't happen? Think again. You see, what we have is a system of corruption that is systemic and endemic to our entire nation. The corruption is so deep within the NSA and this administration and their desire, because here's the problem. They are now addicted like a heroin addict, like a meth head, and they just gotta keep getting more. one is never enough. Or I should say, one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. You see, they've got so much data, they can't even analyze it. It's like drinking out of a fire hose. So what they're doing is they're just storing it all, and then they're evaluating it later. But when they are talking about corporate information, how do we know that's not being sold to a Chinese competitor? How do we know that that's not being sold to a foreign government? We don't, because we don't even know that they have it. Well, we have to trust the NSA that their real purposes are truly in the best interest of America. If you believe that, I have some oceanfront property in the middle of St. Louis that is perfect for you. It is the investment of a lifetime. Here's the truth. Professor Green, Matthew Green, he's a cryptographer. Cryptographers means that they work on codes, right? Secret code. How do you encrypt data? And he works at Johns Hopkins University. And he came out last week and said, the NSA has had a hard time breaking encryption. So what they've done is they actually tried to take the products that perform the encryption and make them worse. Make it easier so it's easier for them to break that encryption. The NSA is willing to make the U.S. security a little bit weaker. End quote. In other words, the NSA is willing to allow American business, enterprise, corporate security weaker so they can read it. They're willing to endanger our nation to international espionage as long as they get it. Now, this week, Symantec computer security experts, and Symantec is a large security company, they've come out and said that they identified an elite group of Chinese hackers who have been targeting the systems of U.S. major technology companies like Adobe, Dow Chemical, Google, Northrop Grumman, Yahoo, and even Symantec itself since 2009. And guess what all those companies were using? Golly gee, RSA. So basically, here's the deal. The NSA has gone to RSA Computer Security Company and said, you're the leader in the corporate security market. So what we're going to do is, your encryption's too hard to break. So we're going to have you make it easier so that we can break it. And in doing so, they made it so easy that Chinese hackers and others could break it as well. Which means that basically the world's, or I shouldn't say, the industry, corporate America's secrets are an open book to Chinese and other hackers, North Korea, Chinese, Iranian, all of the enemies of the U.S., not to mention global thuggery gangsters who just seek information for its later sale. And they've made them exposed, bare naked, so that they would be able to get the information. All of our corporate secrets, we have to assume, have been compromised. Now, If a guy in the NSA can get the inside dope that IBM plans to buy company XYZ, and some Chinese hacker group gets it, what do you think happens when they decide to plunk down $25 million in the stock market on company XYZ, which is about to be bought by IBM? Is that not skewing the marketplace? Is that not endangering the financial and economic security of the United States of America? Is that not a national security issue? A violation of our national security policy? You betcha. You betcha. And what that tells me is our government is so interested in your secrets that they don't give a hangnail whether or not anybody else gets them. And if you think that these people in the NSA and their contractor network are careful with the keys to your safe, you're a fool. Because we now know that Chinese hackers have been targeting the systems of USA major technology companies utilizing the NSA or the RSA weakened tool. Weakened by whom? Our own government. Adobe, Dow Chemical, Google, Northrop Grumman, Yahoo, and many others. The NSA has been exposed as an agency that enjoys global internet data flow. In other words, they've got unlimited access to everything that's going on. But what they catch, they have to then look at. So in order to see the encrypted data, the sealed, they want to look inside the sealed tube of data. So they got a secret key that unlocks it and allows them to look inside. Despite practically limitless web control capability, that agency has failed to prevent foreigners, enemies of the United States of America, from hacking into our American secret safe. And that is so inexcusable that it borders on the word treason. If you aid and abet a foreign enemy, there is only one word that fits that definition. And I'm telling you that corporate America should be on the side of freedom and liberty in this case. They should be ganging up together, thousands of corporations, filing lawsuits against the United States of America and the NSA in particular to end and cease this betrayal of us. Our nation, not just you and me and the email grandma sends with pictures of baby Bobby in there. But the truth of the matter is this. We could use their help, and it would benefit all of us. They have the resources to file a lawsuit that you and I as individuals could never hope to achieve, and small companies around the nation could never hope to achieve. But our secrets are just as important to us as corporate Americas are to them. So I ask you, corporate America, the call is out. What are you going to do about this betrayal? You're listening to America's Voice Now. Find us on the web at americasvoicenow.org, facebook.com/America's Voice Now, and youtube.com/America's Voice Now. We appreciate you, folks. We will catch you tomorrow. If you're listening to us on our brand new KUNQ 99.3 out of Houston, Missouri, God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.